What's up, guys? Welcome to the video. Today's video is sponsored by Northwest Self-Defense Products. Northwest Self-Defense Products, owned by Scott and Rebecca Fowler. They sell all sorts of Fox Labs International brand pepper sprays, Airco International pepper sprays, and self-defense items. I'd like to also announce that Northwest Self-Defense Products is introducing Readi. They're a brand new line of pepper sprays, innovative and effective, sleek in design, and very cool. All these products could be found on their website. I'm going to include the link in the description below. So before we get into today's video, make sure you go visit northwestselfdefenseproducts.com and give them your support and tell them Josh said hi. Alright, so on the video today, I'm going to do some baton testing. I did state to you in the past that when I did the police baton history video that I wanted to test these batons. So today I'm going to take them out and I'm going to strike them against different things. I'm going to use a lot of the recommended strikes that these companies put out as far as what their training wants you to do. And I'm just kind of going to see. It's not going to be real scientific. This isn't Mythbusters. I'm not going to show you pounds per square inch. I'm just going to tell you how it feels from the hand of the user. So I'm going to take it out and I'm going to swing it a whole bunch of times. I'm going to strike it a whole bunch of times on different things, and I'm going to tell you what I think personally delivers the most impact. Now, I do have a video planned where I actually get struck with these batons. The problem is I do all my filming by myself. I don't have anybody to film with me. So I got to wait for somebody to be available to hit me with these batons. So that is coming though, so stay tuned for that. So in the meantime, enjoy the video. So far with these batons that I'm testing, I'm noticing that certain batons really fatigue you really quickly. Some of the batons, like the individual baton, the wooden ones, and the riot baton, the wooden ones, have a lot of bounce back. Even though they strike very hard, it comes off of the target, requiring you to kind of reload, get a better grip, take a half a second or two to kind of reacquire the target. A lot of these batons hurt the user. There's a lot of vibration. I understand that, like, I'm hitting a tree at first, I'm gonna be hitting some other things, but there's a lot of vibration back into the user too. So over time it would really start to sting and fatigue the user. So we're gonna keep going. Some of these, like the tactical whip, it allows you to, like, I took 1 or 2 kind of soft strikes, and then I was really confident the first second I used it, and I could, like, really wail on the target, to hit it as hard as I could, creating a lot of damage. It's really cool. So we're going to continue these tests. All right, this is a wood target as well, but instead of a tree, these are 2x6s, 2x4s. Now these are 2x6s. So instead of a tree, these are 2x6s. This will allow more indentation. So if the board breaks, the board breaks. These are the remnants of my old axe target, but it should absorb the impacts better than a tree would. So we're gonna try. My truncheon actually broke. It is broke. So much for being hardwood. Rapid rotation baton. Stinger, tactical whip. Alright guys, so that was a lot of fun. Mind you, user beware. Caution for this whole thing. Make sure you have eye protection. Make sure you know what you're hitting so you don't break anything. But some of these batons actually had catastrophic failures during testing. Some of these batons performed very well, higher than my expectations. Mind you, because I was hitting a tree and a 2x6, that is a surface harder than any human being you're ever gonna hit. Unless, say, maybe you hit somebody's like motorcycle helmet or something. So these were put to more of a strenuous test than you would actually use in real life. Also, when you're training with these in a training environment, you're hitting like a dummy, you know, something porous that's actually going to absorb impact to simulate hitting a human body. So like I said, these batons were put through more of a test than you would in real life. Some of them performed great, some of them performed lower than I expected. So now we're going to talk about, first we're going to talk about the truncheon. So essentially a hard wooden stick, started in the 1880s all the way up into the early 1900s. My truncheon actually broke during this test. It's supposed to be a hardwood, maple I believe, or hickory, and it actually ended up splitting down the bottom, the front of this truncheon. Now there is a metal weight in the end of this that probably helped contribute to this thing splitting, but it's designed to take a beating, and it certainly did not live up to that. So would this work on a human being? Sure, a couple times, yeah. I would say you'd certainly get a couple uses out of this if you ever needed it. You might ever only need it once, so it certainly would work. If it ever cracked like this, I would just get a new one. They're relatively inexpensive. I believe I paid 25, 30 bucks or something like that for this. So that is the truncheon. It is a big thumbs down. Truncheon, thumbs down. Now we go into the individual and the riot baton. These are made of hardwood, hickory, stained in 2 different colors just to kind of show you the contrast. One is 24 inches and the other one is 36 inches. Both of these performed great. There are a couple different versions of these. Some of these have a rubber stopper here with a textured grip and then a lanyard or a thong. If I were you, I would get that style because these just had a hard time staying in my hands. Now, maybe if you had a tactical glove, it would help. It would also help absorb some of the impact because these 2 weapons vibrated my hands pretty good. After a few whacks, you know, it made my hand sting. Now, mind you, I'm hitting a tree, so it probably might not do that against a human being. But also remember, in the case of, let's say, this 36-inch riot baton, you might be going against somebody who's using either a shield or something to block them, whether it be you know, a piece of corrugated steel, some sort of polyurethane, some sort of polycarbonate plastic or something like that, or even something metal, like, you know, a pedestrian gate, something that they picked up. So certainly this test wouldn't be out of the norm for these kind of batons. They held up great. I would just get the stopper style, so it helped keep it in your hand. Also make sure you get the style that is textured on the bottom with the lanyard for retention. These, thumbs up. All right, P24, this is what everybody wants to see. The P24 performed amazingly. I give it a thumbs up. So the P24 struck really, really hard. Very minimal vibration to the hand, so the user didn't suffer that much. It does have a textured grip here at the bottom, whether it be on this or the, I think they call it a trunnion nut. The T-handle, whether it be the T-handle and you were striking like this, or whether it be the bottom of the baton itself and you were striking with all your might in a full swing. Very little feedback to the user. You can reload it pretty good. Reload as in strike, reload for another hit, strike, reload for another hit, strike. Very quick, very powerful, created some devastating blows. The P24 gets my thumbs up. All right, so then we had 2 different versions of extendable batons. We had a 12-inch here, and then we had the Smith & Wesson 24. I believe this is either 24 or 26-inch long extendable or collapsible friction style baton. These use inertia to get open, and then once they're open, they use friction to stay open. They both performed great. Neither one of them took any damage. This one has a slight discoloration to the markings, but it still performs great, as in like the material, whatever the surface paint is starting to come off just with those few little strikes. But this is made by Police Force Tactical, it looks like, and this, like I said, this one's made by Smith & Wesson. Both of these performed great. One drawback to these was every time you hit something, it would kind of loosen up and start to collapse, so it started to get weak. But honestly, every strike, as you're coming down, the inertia of that strike would open it right back up. So you didn't need to, per se, you know, reset, open it back up, and then strike again. You could just keep striking, because even if this thing started to collapse a little bit, it would open right back up during the motion of the strike. Very, very powerful strikes. I would say the end, because it's a little bit lighter than the rest of the body of the baton, probably lost some striking power. If this was thicker, there's one called a containment baton I will be getting in the future. If this was thicker, it'd definitely deliver a bigger punch. But I actually liked this. I liked the fact that you could put it on a keychain, or let's say in your pocket. Delivered huge strikes, and it's very compact. I would actually keep this on my person. Check your local state regulations and laws regarding collapsible or extendable batons, whether or not you can carry these for self-defense. But these do get my thumbs up. Now, Defense Warehouse provided me with the spring action style friction baton. This took damage during the testing. The premise behind this and the design behind this was pretty interesting, allowing some kinetic energy to slide forward as far as producing a stronger strike at the end of its travel. I didn't see that as far as whether or not I felt like it worked good, but During the striking, since the smaller part of the spring itself is at the end, during the striking it did take some damage. That also made it loose, and now it is inoperable. It doesn't allow it to close very well. Reliability on this thing, I would say, was very low, considering the damage that it took just from a few strikes. I believe it would still take some damage if you struck something hard, whether it be somebody's head or a car window, things like that. I believe that still would take some damage. So the spring style friction baton, collapsible baton, gets a thumbs down from me. Rapid rotation baton. Again, like, I didn't even know these things existed before a few weeks ago when I started doing research on the history of batons, police batons. But this thing exceeded my expectations in some ways. The striking was very, very good. It is not as thick, let me see here, it is not as thick as the P24. It's not. Similar materials though, it's a polycarbonate plastic. So it's flexible and strong. Will this work good in, say, like Vegas, where it's a very, very hot environment? Or will this work good in Alaska, where it's a very, very cold environment? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. I guess I could try it next winter to see, once this is frozen, if it becomes more brittle. But it did exceed my expectations in some aspects as far as how powerful the striking was. I did notice that as my hands got more fatigued, this was harder to use. So I do understand why police departments never really took this on. They did trial it for a few years, but I do understand where a lot more training was required for this. And then, like I said, it created a lot of fatigue in my hands and my arms, so it became hard to wield, let alone use it as directed. So I will not give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I would say this is you know, up to the user. If you guys wanted to purchase one of these, by all means, it is certainly cool. It's one thing to have in your arsenal. Just beware of the possible drawbacks. All right, now we come to the Stinger Tactical Whip. Honestly, this is probably my favorite of the bunch. Even though it was never used as a police baton per se, it was modeled and designed for that reason. Now it's used more as a self-defense tool slash emergency tool, be it with the glass breaker. But you could really wail on something with this. It took a little bit of damage on the end, but honestly, this whole cable part is replaceable. You can get these relatively cheaply. They're held in with Allen screws, so you can replace this. And I would say I would keep using this for a while. The fact that the plastic coating kind of got damaged just a little bit does not keep me from wanting to use this. You could really hit something as hard as you want and receive no stinging sensation in your hand, receive no pain, no vibration travels from this cable down to your hand. The contoured grip part of this fits snugly in your hand. There is no worry about this coming out. Even if someone were to grab it, you would have the advantage of pulling it back out of somebody's hand. It does come with a lanyard or a thong, whatever you want to call it. It also has a belt clip and a glass breaker. This is a devastating defense tool. This is probably what I would recommend moving forward. The problem being, if you were in a police department, you basically could not use this without having some sort of liability issues moving forward. If you were, during the debriefing and the after action review, once your superiors found out you used this on somebody, you'd probably be in a lot of trouble. But for the everyday average citizen, if you kept this in your car, whether it be for an emergency tool or if, God forbid, you ever needed it to use in defense, this would be a devastating tool to have in your arsenal. It's not a weapon as far as like a firearm or a knife. I would certainly, if this is all I had, I would whip until my arm fell off just to try to get whoever was attacking me off of me. But you would have a disadvantage against a firearm. You only have as far as you could reach. So obviously a firearm can reach out further, and you would be at a disadvantage against anything lethal like that. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. My recommendation as far as the number one, you know, most useful baton would be the Stinger Tactical Whip. My second recommendation would probably be the P24. would be the P24, and then my third recommendation would be a good high quality extendable or collapsible, however you want to pronounce it, friction baton. These things are really cool and they're really effective. So I'm going to leave a link in the description where you could purchase all of these. I want to thank my sponsors, the guys who sent me these for review. This is from Stun and Run Self-Defense Products. We got Stinger. Stinger sent me this for testing. This came from Galls, along with the hardwood individual and riot batons. They came from galls.com. Defense Warehouse sent me these collapsible batons. And no, actually, I believe Stun and Run sent me this too. I'll have to double check that. But either way, I have some amazing supporters. The truncheon came from Amazon, and the rapid rotation baton came from the Rapid Rotation Baton website. So I'm going to leave a link in the description for all of these. I want to thank the guys who supported me. I want to thank everybody. Dave from defensewarehouse.com. I appreciate it. Send some more products my way. If you guys have some products that you would like tested, my email's in the about section. I'll also leave my email in the description of this video. Get a hold of me, send me some stuff, and I'll put it here on YouTube for you guys to enjoy. This is Josh from the 570. Hit that like button. We'll see you next time.